Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey friend, thank you so much for joining us today on New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and we're going to be taking calls for 2 hours today. So give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. Whatever it is you're struggling with, it could be insecurity or infidelity. Those N words are just about as bad as the D words, I think. So give us a call. We'd love to chat about it. 2 hours today, 1-800-229-3000. We've got licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris here. How are you, Dr. Jacqui?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. And also here is clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton. How are you, Alice?
Hello, having a splendid morning.
Wonderful. And what's on your mind to start us off today?
Oh, that warm, fuzzy feeling that you get when a person has hurt you and then they say afterwards, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't been nagging at me.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but it wasn't as bad as you're making out to be. I'm sorry, but I was just joking. These sorries are life-draining, and the Bible calls those of us who make those kind of sorries fools. Proverbs 14:9, fools mock at making amends. Fools think a surface-level sorry is good enough. But I also want to be cautious to say, I don't think most of us learned how to make better sorries than that. You don't get a sorry class. Most of our parents didn't know how to teach us, so it may be out of ignorance. But you can't claim ignorance anymore after you hear this. Because sorry isn't always enough, especially after repeat offense. You've done the same harm again and again to the same person. It was a significant offense, or you broke trust. Those situations and more, but that's a good start. You got to do more than just a sorry. We have to do more than just a sorry. So here are a couple of things we can do to repair the rupture that happens in relationship in these circumstances. We can seek to understand the hurt that we've caused. And the best way I know how to do that is the comfort circle from Mylan and Kay's How We Love. We can replace what we've taken by the hurt we caused. Usually that's energy. We've drained our victim's energy. We maybe have caused financial damage, and we've probably taken some of their time back from them. So I'll often ask my kids, when they hurt me, when they disobey me, one of the best ways they can repair, do a chore for me. Give me a clean spot in the house, and you will have repaired your mama's heart by doing that. And we can repent. This is probably the most important one, because this is when we get help to change that ongoing offensive behavior. And I'm curious what you two think about this, and if you know what I mean with that feeling of I'm sorry, but you, I was just joking.
Well, I definitely know. I have a really hard time receiving I'm sorries for that very reason, because I often feel like it was a waste of air, because most of the time people are saying sorry to make themselves feel better, and it does nothing for me. But they want me to now make them feel better and say that I'm okay, and so that they can relax. And so I really struggle with that. So I really appreciate hearing that, because it makes a difference. If you did something on purpose and you continually do that thing on purpose, and every time you say you're sorry and I now have to forgive you, that just really adds frustration for me. And so I'd much rather you repent.
And that's what the other person will hold over you. You have to forgive me because I said,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And it's not easy. And I've been the person who's done the I'm sorry, but you several times, maybe more times than I've been on the receiving end. And it's not good.
An insufficient sorry can actually do more harm than good.
Yeah. So do you agree with the, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you?
We do have to learn how to protect ourselves, which I think is particularly difficult for Christian women, because we think a good Christian wife, mom, we just take it, we smile, we say, I forgive you, let's move on. The Bible says protect our hearts.
Okay, great conversation to start us off today on New Life Live, and we're waiting to conversate with you. So give us a call, 1-800-229-3000, Andrew in Texas. We're going to talk to you when we come back here on New Life Live.
Early on, looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Denver, Colorado, June 6th through the 8th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Thank you so much for listening to us on the radio, or maybe you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you're listening on a podcast. Well, thank you very much for doing so. Please take a moment to rate us or leave a kind review. It really helps us to get the word out to other people. 1-800-229-3000 is our number today, and here is Andrew, who's listening to us in Dallas on KWRD. Welcome, Andrew, to New Life Live.
Hello.
Hi, what's going on?
I just a week ago had my girlfriend, she broke up with me, and it was just like a month and a half. But it was sort of, I don't know, new for me to talk about emotions, and I felt like it was one of the healthiest relationships I've ever had. But I guess it sort of ended maybe because I was starting to get very like critical, like a fear developing in my mind about like every little action she did was somehow pointing to who she really is, and I can't trust her. And so I ended up, being honest with her and sharing how I felt, but then I sort of did it in, I guess, like an accusational way. And
can you give us an example of something you said or did?
Yeah. So she ended up wearing some clothes that were, I guess, they weren't like terrible, but I guess I got triggered, and I was like, hey, like, what would Jesus say if you were dressed like that and you were in the room with him? And then also another thing I said, which I think is a lot worse, maybe was like, I was like, oh, yeah, you see, my roommate, his girlfriend is at the house and he's out of town because he trusts me. Like, you can tell he trusts me and her, he trusts one of us at least. But then like, I haven't seen people do that for you, I think is what I said. I can't remember if that's what I said. And so that's, obviously hindsight 2020.
Andrew, you must really be hurting that this relationship ended when it was one of the better, it was growing emotionally, and you were trying to be honest, and you were trying to do it, hoping she could receive your concern. Over the course of the month and a half, or all the time that you've known her, apart from dating, did you see multiple signs that made you think, I don't think I can trust her?
That I can trust her?
Yeah, that I cannot trust her. She's not trustworthy.
No, it was really just, I guess, in the last week, I had some insecurity, and I shared that with her. And then after I shared that with her, it seemed like I was like catching every little thing.
And do you know what generated that insecurity this past week when you hadn't been feeling that way before?
Well, so it was like a nightmare that she was cheating on me with my best friend.
Ooh.
Andrew, had you ever experienced someone cheating on you before?
Yes.
Did you feel like that's where the trigger was? Were there things about this girlfriend that reminded you of the other situation?
Yes. Yeah.
And when you talked to her, she said, that's not working for me, this is over? Or was it a quick breakup after that, or did you guys continue to try?
It just seemed like ever since I brought up my insecurities, our communications got really challenging, and almost like, like I came back and tried to apologize for the way I approached her, and then she used the word slut shaming, which triggered me because it reminded me of the person who cheated on me, and then so it really triggered me, and then I just did not do well, and I was kind of like, trying to halt, and but I kept like coming back to the conversation and not halting, not honoring the halt, and then from there, I'm sorry, I forgot what the question was.
That's okay. How did you learn about HALT? Have you done therapy?
I've done Merge, which is like a marriage counseling, I guess. Like I'm trying to start a relationship. Maybe I've tried to do so much as far as educate myself on communicating and caring and being empathetic, and I really desire strong, healthy relationship with a passion.
Your self-awareness and your humility really show. I'm hearing that from you and what you're saying. Were you close to marriage previously in another relationship?
So one marriage, my first kind of serious relationship was like common law, and so but that was like, I don't know what we were doing, and that wasn't really the most godly relationship, and so I'm really upset that I even did that, but I know God's still good. And but then second,
is that the person that cheated on you?
Yeah, actually, she's the one who cheated on me, and it was kind of like in a very weaponized way. Like she was like calling me during, I guess, intercourse or something, and so it was very painful.
Have you done any
extremely abusive?
Have you done any therapy after that relationship to deal with the trauma of the infidelity, the betrayal?
So I not specifically after that one, but I did have another relationship, and then that one was getting close to marriage, but then it sort of broke down in communication, and she broke up with me, and I did start therapy a little before the breakup, and I was kind of going on therapy for a while, and that was going pretty good, and I felt like a lot of things were getting a lot better, but I guess I wasn't in like a relationship, so I couldn't really realize.
It's startling when you've done good work and you've learned so much, but then a nightmare can bring it all back to the surface again, and it can feel like what happened to all that good work I've already done. Andrew, what's your question for us?
What's the best way to just go about handling this insecurity so that way I can constantly show up for my partner as a loving person? Because I think I'd kind of let that insecurity, when she would share her emotions about pain that she felt according to my actions, right, which is like, of course she can feel pain, like that's, I think I'd get really insecure, and like, and there was that, and then so I guess what's like a good, I don't know what to do about fixing this insecurity, and just having healthy communication no matter how insecure I feel.
I want to say before Dr. Alice answers your question, you said so that you can constantly show up. And I just want to see if we can change that to consistently, because it's tough to be constantly right and good and in a good mood and regulated. And if you're looking for perfection, you'll probably continue not to find it. And so maybe trying to be more consistent rather than trying to constantly be the perfect person could eliminate some of that poor self-esteem. Because if your aim is perfection, then I feel like you'll fail more often than succeed. But if your aim is to be a healthy partner and to have open communication and to have ways of communicating that actually get down to the problem, then I think that there is definitely work that you can do with a good therapist and How We Love.
And Andrew, you've already been on the right path. And so it's staying on that path. And it's staying on it a lot longer than we think we'll have to, and longer than we want to, because the answer to trauma, to dissolve the power trauma has over us, is repeat processing in structured conversations. And that can be in therapy, it can be in group, but it has to happen over and over again until the effect of the trauma gets small enough that we can notice it, but kind of brush it away, and it no longer dictates our reactivity. And so making sure you stay in therapy, and it doesn't have to be the rest of your life, but you'll probably need to return to it in seasons as you notice, I'm in a new relationship, ooh, my insecurity's coming back up again. Because by bringing those fears into relationship and bringing the hurt into the healing power of relationship, that's when it has less of a hold over us. Andrew, there was infidelity in my family of origin, and I carried that with me. And almost every time my husband left the house, I would be fearful. What if he cheats on me? What if he finds somebody sexier, more beautiful, more anything than me? I was gripped by that fear. And so I got back into therapy again. And I stayed in for a good period of time. I did a lot of empty chair processing, talking to that person that had been unfaithful in my family of origin, not directly, but imagining that they were there in the room. I processed my anger, my upset, my frustration with God, but also, Andrew, my resulting insecurity that, gosh, if that person is going to be unfaithful, surely my spouse will be unfaithful. I'm a lot better now, but my spouse and I have an agreement that when I get triggered again, and when I hear even about a public affair and divorce, that can send me back a little bit. And I have to go to my husband to say, I need reassurance. This public divorce got me going again. Would you reassure me? Can we talk about it? Can we do the comfort circle? And so it's a wound we have, Andrew, that may never entirely go away, but we can get enough healing that we know how to handle it even in these difficult moments.
Andrew, what are you thinking with this girl? Is it over for sure, or would you like to get back with her, or what are you thinking? That you lived and you're going to move on, or what?
Well, I'm really struggling to move on, and I'd love to just see about moving forward together with her, towards marriage, if that was on the table. But I guess I'm also been trying to just accept that, I was not the best with my words, and I probably really hurt her, and that, it's probably not gonna go in that direction. So
Any thoughts from you guys?
I just hope you'll let us connect you. If you're not seeing a therapist currently, we have a network of counselors, and they know these principles that we're talking about here, so they know how to put this into action with you. We also have New Life recovery groups of other people like you who want to become the best version of themselves. They know that they're broken. They're ready to do the work. So I think it's that combination of individual counseling and group work that will help you move forward the fastest.
Yep. Stay on the phone and we'll get you connected with someone. And you can find out more about recovery groups on our website, liferecoverygroups.com.
How about Sherry Keffer's book, Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma?
All right. We'll send you that. Andrew, thanks for calling in today. Now here's Thomas calling in from Durham, North Carolina, listening on Sirius XM Channel 131. Hi there, Thomas. Thanks for calling 1-800-229-3000.
You bet. Good afternoon. So I'm in recovery from sex addiction, and I've been in real recovery I've stopped my behaviors about 5 years ago. I've been in true recovery, meetings, therapy, the whole bit, for the last 2.5 years. So my behavior's behind me. I'm working through the emotional toll it has taken on my family. Mm-hmm. And I recently just did my formal disclosure, and I did a polygraph. Well, the polygraph, I went in there with maybe a little too much bravado, thinking I'm just going to nail this because I got nothing left to hide. And I had a complete panic attack. So I didn't fail the test, but it was inconclusive. But I might as well have failed it. So now with all this, my wife's dealing with all the betrayal trauma over the years. We've been to some good places. We've gone up and down over the years. But now we're really at a spot where I don't see how to move forward I don't know what the next step is to move forward into our healing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know if you guys had any suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we have any questions that we can leave Thomas thinking about during the break, and we'll come back to him?
I have some ideas for when we come back from the break.
Okay. Very good. So, Thomas, don't hang up. We'll get to you in just a moment here on New Life Live. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story, too, because talking about something like this isn't easy, and you've chosen to do that, and we're going to try to help you as best as we can here at New Life Live. My name is Brian Perez. I'm here with doctors Alice Benton and Jacqui Mack-Harris, and we're going to be taking your calls for 2 hours today. We would love to try to help you get out of whatever struggle that you're in right now, a recovery issue, a issue with your marriage or your family. Give us a call.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Thomas, who's calling in from Durham, North Carolina, listening on Sirius XM, channel 131. Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, you said you had some ideas for Thomas. What are they?
Thomas, I was wondering, have you and your wife ever gone to our Intimacy and Marriage Intensive?
We have not.
That would be my suggestion. There is one coming up this summer, and I think it would be a great place for you to get some support, for your wife to get some support, for you guys to really dig into the work you guys have already done, maybe for her to get some comfort and understanding, and to be able to ask some other questions. There's a really cool breakout process that happens during the intensive all throughout the weekend. And I think it just could be really helpful for you and your wife to get you through this newest crisis with the polygraph.
Oh, sure. No, I'll definitely look into it.
Thomas, I'm angry for you because I so respect that you're one of the few who is willing to truly repent. And so why was this obstacle thrown in your path, an inconclusive polygraph, when you went in prepared to answer everything honestly? So I'm upset. But I also choose to trust God. There's some reason why He allowed this to happen. And if we can believe that and enter into asking, God, what do you want me to do with this? This will somehow take your healing deeper than if you'd gotten an all clear. the first time. I don't know why. That's mysterious to me, but that is how God works, because he'll use anything for our good for those of us who believe. So I have some thoughts about how to move forward, but I want to first ask, does your wife already know it was inconclusive, and how did she react?
Yes, and she reacted very poorly. Very upset. The first night, it wasn't too bad. The next day, we were arguing all day. We had another reasonable day, and then just the last couple days, it's just been, she gets triggered, and she says things that are not typically her. Mm-hmm. And it goes on for many hours. So this morning, she seemed to be back in a better space.
And through
she's been very angry.
Through the entire discovery disclosure, has she ever separated from you?
No, she has not. I've lived with my sister for a little while just to give us some space, but we still spend every day together.
And that was a voluntary decision on your part?
It was.
And now you're back in the home and have been for some time?
Correct.
And do you two have children? And if so, are any of them minors?
No minors. We have one daughter. She's older.
Okay. Can you give us a headline of the infidelity? Was it one time, ongoing, long-term affair partner?
It was generally just pornography and communicating over the internet, and one instance of infidelity. But it was over our entire marriage. We've been married for 7 years.
Okay. So I wanted...
So it's a long term.
Your use of pornography and emotional infidelity was long term.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said the marriage was 7 years?
27.
27, okay.
I'm going to challenge you on some of your wording that I think speaks to your heart posture. To go into a polygraph with bravado, I understand it on the one hand because you're like, I'm ready. I'm not hiding anything anymore. Let's go. I'm going to show her how honest I am. So I get that. But you shouldn't have bravado about pretty much any of this. And there's a need to explore why bravado. And I'm sure you want to get on top of this. You've been carrying shame. You've been in deceit. And so to finally be on the honest side, there's sort of a thrill to that, which is not a bad thing. But if you have bravado about any part of your recovery process, it's hurtful and damaging to your wife, who is still the victim. And there's not been enough repair, despite 2.5 really good years of your honest recovery work. And I believe you. But as the perpetrating spouse becomes free of the sin and the hiding, it is natural to go into a place of feeling really free and good about yourself finally after all these years. And that is hurtful for the victim spouse, who is being dumped with new information she may not have known everything about. And the new you, the bravado you, is probably hard to be around. She needs the humble you, the eaten humble pie for as long as it takes you. And I know you're doing that too, but I caution you against the bravado. And I want you to check with yourself, with your wife, and with a therapist. How much and where is my bravado showing through? Then you said she reacted poorly to the news. And I understand that word choice. But instead of believing my wife is reacting poorly, we've got to replace that with my wife is reacting totally understandably and, in fact, incredibly mercifully, because she's still not divorcing me. She's still giving me another chance. She's mad, but she's still talking with me. That is a merciful, grace-filled, understanding wife who, of course, is hurt. Of course she is. So there are a few ways to do more repair. But I want your reaction, just your brief reaction, because we're coming to the break. How are you feeling?
Sure. No,
tell me how you're feeling with me challenging your wording like this. I'm going a little hard on you.
I accept it. I kind of thought the same thing. Once it was done, I realized I was doing it more for me than her. Oh. And maybe bravado was a strong word, but you're right. She's the one that's hurt. She's the one that's hurting. I need to show some more humility to her.
Thomas, that quick acceptance is evidence of you being in true recovery. So we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts of what to do next.
All right, Thomas, stay on the phone. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. We would love to chat with you as well.
I was stuck. I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our life. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Let's go back to Thomas, finish up our conversation with him. Dr. Jacqui, I think you had some thoughts.
Thomas, have you done Every Man's Battle with New Life?
I have not.
And
I just happened to turn on the show today, and you were talking about stories, and it just grabbed my ear, and I thought, you know what? I don't usually do this sort of thing.
Oh, I'm so glad you called. Thank you for your vulnerability and your desire to find a way to make repair with your wife and to ease some of the suffering. This is such a hard situation because when there is infidelity and sexual betrayal in a relationship, it now becomes a part of the story. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done on an ongoing basis. Every Man's Battle could be really helpful for you. It is an intensive where you'll come together with other men. There's also an Every Man's Battle podcast. And we just learned from the producer that you should really be listening on Monday. Mm-hmm. So once you go to the website, go to newlife.com and find the website. Brian, can you give us the directions to that?
Yeah. Wherever you get your podcasts, whatever your favorite platform is, you can go there and look for the one called Every Man's Battle. A new episode comes out every Monday, and the one that's coming up this coming Monday is about how to have hope when you feel like you're doing good work, but your partner is stuck. So that's definitely up your alley.
Look like they made that for you. Yeah. So definitely be there. And then we have, I think, 3 intensive that would be helpful for you and your wife. And if you can make them happen, that would be great. We also have scholarships to help out if necessary. Every Man's Battle is June 6th in Denver. Intimacy and Marriage is July 25th in D.C. And then Restore is Healing After Betrayal. It is November 7th in D.C. And all
that information's on your website?
All that information's on the website. And you can go and you can register. You can talk to someone about paying for it all, getting all set up, where it will all be. And then you can go to your wife with some solutions.
Mm-hmm. Because
that would be fantastic.
To come back to your wife, Thomas, and be able to say, with that inconclusive polygraph, you have every right to be mad, to not trust me. And you could take as long as you need to figure out whether or not to trust me again. I'm not going to tell you to, but I am going to do some new things in my actions that I hope will rebuild trust over time. You can ask her, how does that inconclusive polygraph affect you? I'm sure you don't believe me. I wouldn't believe me if I were you. And we have this great listening structure called the comfort circle, and it teaches us how to be non-defensive listeners. It cleans up those sorries we were talking about at the beginning of the show, and it transforms them into, tell me how my behavior affected you. And I'm just going to listen to understand. And then we can ask our hurt spouse, what do you need from me? Do you need me to move back to my sister's? I will. Do you need to separate?
Yeah.
Do you need a separate bank account where I put money in that I don't have access to, but you do, so that you can learn I'm trustworthy by my actions, not by my words? And so all these things will show her rather than tell her the kind of man you're becoming.
And the book, How We Love, can help with those conversations. It might even help you get some understanding about some other issues that might be coming up in the relationship. And then you maybe from some of those situations that come up and some of your own triggers continue to act out. Even though your behavior has changed over the years, this could be helpful for just the communication aspect to prevent you from even having to go into your tool bag. But we also have more tools for your tool bag if you can get to every man's battle.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yep, I will definitely look into that. I got all that written down.
Thomas, we are so proud of you.
Yeah.
You're really a hero to the wives who need their husbands to know and do what you're willing to do. And you're a hero to the men who are too scared to start the disclosure and take a polygraph test, because it is terrifying to do what you're doing. So thank you for being that kind of man who wants to restore what has gone wrong.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate your time.
And as the host of this program, Thomas, I want to thank you for calling in, because you've never heard us before. You took a chance and you called in and talked to Dr. Alice and Dr. Jacqui, and you poured your heart out to us. And I think that was really phenomenal, and it'll help other people to have the courage to call in and get the help that they need as well. But we gave you a lot of information today. You can find it all at newlife.com. That's a good place to start. You can find out about the intensives that Jacqui was talking about. We've got some resources there, our video library. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love. So if you'll stay on the phone, we'll get that to you in Durham, North Carolina. Thanks, man.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to speak to pornography use for a moment, because all the times I've been honored to hear a hurting man's story of his pornography use, there was a start when he was an innocent victim and he was exposed to pornography by someone else. And there was almost always family stress and discord surrounding him. And so he quickly learned that pornography was an escape from all of that. It was a way to soothe. And that doesn't justify, but it does help us to understand these little boys were innocent victims, and that age of exposure is going younger and younger. 8 is now the average age of exposure.
I was just telling someone it's usually between 8 and 12, and it's getting lower and lower. 8 was surprising. I used to say between 10 and 12, but nowadays it's between 8 and 12, and it's usually something they stumbled on or someone showed them.
And how often are we parents checking and asking? Not often enough. 90% of the time, I would say. I have had a few of these conversations with my children recently, because I'm working through every young man's battle to help prepare my 12-year-old. My husband and I both are. And when I brought up phrases like sexual purity and lust to my children, assuming I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure they know this, they said, I've never heard those words before. Whether or not they didn't recall, the point was my husband and I weren't teaching them enough for them to capture these ideas and know what to do about them. Especially, I've seen some research that parents will usually say, we've talked to our children about pornography. They know our stance. They know what to do about it. And then their children, when asked, will say, I don't remember us ever talking about pornography. Parents will also say, I know my kid's not watching pornography. And the very children, if they're asked, will say, yes, I have seen pornography. And it's usually graphic and violent. Yeah. but we don't know to ask, or we're afraid and it's awkward. But parents, to help save our boys, we've got to start really young, preparing them.
And our girls too. It's not talked about near as much, but girls are exposed, and I've worked with several women that have porn addictions. It's just not something we really talk about very much, and so we need to just be checking for our children in general.
And pornography comes in so many shapes and sizes now. It's not just those, movie theaters on the bad side of town or anything. It's not just the magazine racks at those liquor stores or anything. It's not, and not just on your phone, but video games and all these other things that
anime,
cartoons,
and there's also a lot on social media, and so I've had conversations with men as well as some girlfriends who have been frustrated by their For You page. They turn on their social media and it's scantily clad women or whatever else is happening there, and the response is usually, when a girlfriend finds it, is, well, I can't do anything about what's on social media. I don't know what's on there. Actually, you can do something about it. Just don't like them, and that will change your algorithm. Search for some other things. Search for cats singing if you need to. But if you search whatever you're searching for and liking, that defines your algorithm. So if you're having a lot of sexually explicit things popping up on your For You page, the answer, I don't know how it got there, is no longer sufficient. You can choose something else. You can change that algorithm. You can put blocks in places so you don't have to see those things that might be triggering to you.
And it's even just moments lingering on an image, not even just searching or liking, but if we linger on something, the algorithm knows, that's of interest to you. I'll send you more.
And if, depending on what your prayer life is like, you might be able to really lean into that. I spoke with a gentleman once, and he said that his wife was traveling and his For You page was full of stuff, and he just thought to himself, God, I'm not going to make it through the night without clicking on something. And a friend called. And the friend called, and they talked for a little while, and he got off the phone and he got to doing something else, and it came back up again, and he was like, here it goes again. I'm just not going to make it through the night. And another friend called and said, I need you to come over. And that next day when we talked, he said, God was like, I hear you. Just those quick little prayers. He was feeling it inside, and he didn't want to lean into that. But he just, every time he picked up his phone, he felt like there was something else there. But God was like, there's also a way out. Right? When we're tempted, he will provide for us a way out. And he took it. So take the exit sign. Take the way out when God provides it.
That way out also comes in many shapes and sizes, because we think it's going to be like something like, God, if you don't want me to do this, I want this light bulb over my head to blow out right now.
Right.
And then it doesn't happen. Oh, okay, I guess. But then other things will happen, like a friend calls or something. You hear a noise outside, and it's like, act on it. Go find out what's going on, because there's so many different ways that it can happen.
Yeah.
Okay, we are here at New Life Live, and we want to talk to you about your struggles, your addictions, your troubles, your trials in life. Give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be in the studio for another hour plus. So call 1-800-229-3000. If you're watching us online, call.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are so thankful for our supporters. Because of your generosity, lives are being changed every day through New Life Ministries. Your support brings real hope through daily radio broadcasts that speak truth and healing into hurting hearts, transformative workshops that guide people through deep healing, connection to counseling, and support for those ready to break free from pain and shame, and biblically based resources that offer clarity, direction, and encouragement. We only have a few days left in our matching gift campaign, where the impact of your gift goes twice as far. Every gift helps. To give, go online to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text the word match to 28950. Again, every little bit counts. It's going to get doubled up to $500,000, and you can help us with that. You know, May has been Mental Health Awareness Month. Every year, every May, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we always talk about mental health awareness here on New Life Live. But we can deal with those topics any time of the year. If you've got a question, 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. And one question I have is what are some signs that, what's the difference between just feeling sad, like, oh, I've been down lately, but then where something else is going on, where you need to seek help, counsel, therapy, whatever? What would you guys say?
Well, sadness is a God-given emotion, and it's a helpful emotion, especially when we can respond to it in the right way. But most of us want to push it aside, ignore it, minimize it, compartmentalize it. But there's a fascinating science behind the research done on tears. Because when we let ourselves release sadness through tears, it actually cleans out biotoxins from the body. And so sadness should be cherished, allowed, and we should let it flow. And unfortunately, we tend to do the opposite. And we think it's a weakness. We think it's shameful. So when is sadness just a healthy passing emotion? And when is it problematic? I would say one sign is that it starts to become chronic, overwhelming, and it can impair our functioning. So if I can't get out of bed and I'm not showing up for work, or I'm not engaged and focused in the things I do, I feel like a shell of myself. Those are signs that sadness is deepening into something different.
Yeah, and sometimes sadness is necessary before we get to some relational connection. If you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, Joy really worked really hard to keep sadness from touching anything in Riley's life, which we would think, oh, that's great. But if you saw the movie, you saw that towards the end, when we get to see the full story, there were times where Riley was sad, and it drew people to her. Her sadness became a relational encounter, and it wound up in joy. It's almost how her islands of personality were built. So we need the full range of emotional expression. But when you are sad for more days than not, for more hours than not, you can't find pleasure in things that you used to feel pleasure in. You're fatigued, maybe even starting to feel some chronic pain. you are maybe cloudy in your thinking and just kind of dragging and numb, then you need to talk to somebody. And sometimes it's situational. Something happens. It's grief. You've had a loss, or lost a job, or there's been a death, or just the world is getting you down. So sometimes it's situational, and it's going to last for a couple of weeks, couple of months maybe. But when it goes on beyond that, then we need to talk to someone.
And we're seeing that sadness, especially in today's adolescence, is quickly turning to self-hatred, cutting, to relieve the sadness, to feel a different pain, to feel anything, and thoughts of suicide or morbid thinking. And suicidal thinking is when I consider taking my own life. Morbid thinking is when I want to die. Maybe I ask God to take my life, but I wouldn't take action to end my life. But we're seeing the numbers that it's just tripling the incidence of self-harm and suicidal thinking in our adolescents. And so if that's a part of your sadness, that's a huge warning sign that it's likely becoming a depression that may need clinical intervention.
Those Inside Out movies are so good. I would love to watch the movies again with you guys. In fact,
so much fun.
let's put up a screen right here, and we'll have a remote control, and we'll just kind of like pause it. Every time you guys want to make a comment or something, analyze the whole thing. We could do like several hours on that. That might be fun. But yeah, good work there. What are some if you know someone who does need to reach out and get help, either through us at New Life or whatever, but they're scared, maybe they're thinking, well, I've never done therapy before. I can't share my heart, my thoughts, my concerns with total strangers. What do you say to them?
I say, yes, you can. And you probably should. One of the things about being a therapist is we don't do therapy with our friends and family. It's considered a dual relationship. And I believe that's because they don't really listen to us, right? They're not going to pay any attention to what we say. You know, I'm just Jacqui, right? Or I'm Mom. But when it's a neutral person, I find that people are sharing with me that it just feels safer. I don't have any judgments. I'm not connected or attached to anybody else in their world. And this is a confidential conversation. And so coming and telling someone in a confidential space these things about you, they can come in as a neutral party. They don't have a dog in the fight. They are simply there to hear you. And it's very rare for us to find that in our everyday life, where a person is there to hear us out and not have anything to say back to get something for themselves, right? We do talk about the comfort circle, which is a great way of communicating, in which one person gets the full focus for a time as we're going through it. And that is definitely an important communication tool that we think everybody needs to know. But we need to have someone that's on neutral ground that we can go to, that's non-biased, that will hear what we say, that we trust, to guide us, and to take, I basically say I'm a translator. I take what's said to me and reflect it back in a way people can use.
Should men go see women therapists, or should men stick to men, and vice versa? Women, men, what would you say?
I think it's up to the person in most situations, but there are some situations where I've specifically said, I think you need to see a man now. Or maybe the situation is a mom issue, and so it would be better for them to work through this issue with a woman. But I think it depends on the situation and the person and their own preferences.
I am so thoroughly impressed by all of our listeners who have the courage to call in, because going back to your question, Brian, I think calling in is terrifying. And the times that I've called in before I was more connected with New Life, I was truly shaking. My body was trembling. I was so nervous. So hats off to all of you that call. And there are sort of safer or easier ways to get access to help if calling a radio show is too terrifying. And that can be our New Life chat. If you go to our website, you can just text your question. You can email us your question if you can't ask us over the phone. And so sometimes going by writing first versus out loud, that helps. Attending something like a speaker meeting, a recovery speaker meeting, where there's one or a couple of people who are in charge of leading the meeting by sharing their testimony. It's a way to come quietly in the back door and just listen and get a taste of recovery without having to expose your who you are and what it is that you're struggling with. and going to a church small group or our New Life recovery groups. Because they're smaller settings, you might have more comfort and courage to be able to enter in, test the waters, and try it out. But certainly, you're going to get some top-notch advice if you're willing to call in. Dr. Jacqui here, she knows what she is talking about. And our co-hosts, they're my heroes. The co-hosts of New Life are the ones that have written the library that was my graduate education, truly, because these folks, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stay in the studio for another hour. If you want to call and talk to Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris or Dr. Alice Benton, we would love to hear from you. We would love to help you get on that right path to recovery once and for all. You've been waiting long enough. You're stuck in that situation, stuck in that moment you feel you can't get out of, but you can today. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. If you're watching us online, we want to hear from you too. God bless you.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.